Hey, good afternoon. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard, and it is a damn fine day to talk about a book. We are here for the McCammon Project, Episode 2, where I visit all of the work of the great Robert R. McCammon. This is Episode 2. I started with Swan Song. And then I circled back and we're working through the standalone novels one by one. His very first standalone novel was BAAL. Uh, let's read the synopsis. A woman is ravished, and to her a child is born, unleashing an unimaginable evil upon the world. And they call him BAAL in the orphanage, where he leads the children on a rampage of violence. In California, where he appears as the head of a deadly Manson like cult. In Kuwait, where crazed millions heed his call to murder and orgy. They call him BAAL in the Arctic's hellish wasteland, where he is tracked by the only three men with a will to stop him: Zark, the shaman; Verga, the aging professor of theology; and Michael, the powerful, mysterious stranger. So, I enjoyed this book. I mean, look, I just finished Swan Song. It is no Swan Song, so I don't, I am probably somewhere between 3 and 4 stars. What I will say, I love biblical horror. I love satanic horror. I love stories like The Exorcist, like Rosemary's Baby. The first 100 pages of this, roughly, I loved, and I think it has something to do with the ultimate evil being captured in the body of a child. That shit is scary. It's easier to believe that a man can be evil, or that evil can inhabit the body of a man. No shit, right? But when it is in the body of a child, a la The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby. I mean, hell, even Gage from Pet Cemetery, completely different thing, I know, but that shit is frightening. To me, it is frightening. That shit is scary. There are some great horror parts to this, and I will get into those. But ultimately, I really enjoyed the first 100 pages, but evil has to grow up. Just like our kids have to grow up. The evil children have to grow up too. And so, I enjoyed the back 2/3 of the book a bit less than I did the first 100 pages. And I think that's just because that's kind of one of my favorite genre tropes or whatever. The evil kid. Shit's freaky. So a woman is ravished. There's a rape scene early on. Early on, some mysterious stranger rapes a woman in an alley on her way home from work. It's pretty horrible. I wouldn't say that it's overly descriptive, but it's still fucking horrible, and she's in the hospital. Her husband's trying to deal with that, but it's not your average homeless drunk or whatever. She has handprints burnt on her body. I mean, that not burnt, but like almost like a severe sunburn in the shape of like a man's hands on her shoulders and her hips and all the places that he would have grabbed. And like I said, it's a rough scene to be sure. Um, you get the gist. You know what's happened. Again, Rosemary's Baby, that type of thing. She gives birth to a boy. It's BAAL. I mean, he didn't go by BAAL on day one, but it's BAAL, and shit goes crazy. Now, ultimately, BAAL ends up in this private school. It's an orphanage type thing. Fuck, I gave it away, but anyway, you get it. He ends up at this place. There's another really, really horrific scene at the very tail end of that section of the book. Again, the first 100 pages goes from him being born to, I don't know if he's 13 or what he is. He's a young boy in this private school, reform school type situation, nuns and a priest and all, a Catholic background. And but there's this really violent, sexually violent as well, scene at the tail end of that section with the nun and the priest, and all the kids that are now his inner circle, his disciples, so to speak. And that shit is very, very violent. And when I say violent, I mean it's good horror. It's really, really good horror. I mean, it's hard to shock me. It's hard to scare me. And that scene was some fucked up shit. Good shit though. So then, we jump forward, and we've got this big section of the text that takes place in Kuwait. That's where BAAL is now, and basically he's just stirring the entire Middle East into a fervor. I mean, just stirring shit up over there, and building followers. People are what's the word I'm looking for? It's a Muslim thing where they journey to Mecca, but it's a pilgrimage. I mean, people are making pilgrimages to follow BAAL, to join his ranks or whatever. And so there's this theologian or this professor that's writing a history of false messiahs, like a book, and he goes out there and he gets kind of trapped into basically brainwashed or whatever, trapped into it. And his friend Virga, who we've heard about, who is one of the three guys that eventually goes to track BAAL down, goes after him to kind of figure out what happened. And being there, he gets in some trouble of his own and meets a mysterious stranger named Michael. And Michael's been tracking BAAL for a while, and he's like, I'm going to end this, and Virga's like, well, I'm coming with you. And Michael said, no, you're not. And Virga said, yes, I am. And anyway, eventually, he agrees to let him come. Or you got to meet me here at this particular time where I'm going on my own. And this little small community in Greenland. So Kuwait, and now we're going to Greenland. Now, one thing I didn't really care for is there's a lot of travel in this book. Like, you know how like an author will cut a scene and be like, okay, you can come, but you have to be here on this particular day. 3 days from now, you have to be in. I don't remember the name of the place, but in Greenland, and then we cut to that. We kind of cut all the travel out. We cut to Virga arriving in Greenland. It doesn't do that. There's a lot of travel here. There's a lot of travel through the deserts of Kuwait. There's a lot of travel through Greenland and north of wherever it is they're at. I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it's a whole it's a whole Jack London feel. Like it's a whole sled dog or sled dogs and sled and frozen wastes of Greenland, and it's just a lot. Like it's a lot of travel. Like for me, it was a lot of stuff between, and I guess maybe that's because we spent the first 100 pages, meeting young BAAL, and then at that point we still hadn't done any character development on our other characters, our important characters that are, on the other side of BAAL. So maybe that's why. But there was just a lot of travel. It felt like. Ultimately, like I said, we've got Michael, we've got Virga, and then in the north we meet Zark, and he's this native Greenlandian Eskimo type shaman, and he's got the sled dogs. He's a very hard man. He's a badass, really, and they're tracking BAAL. They're tracking him to this place. Now there is another scene in here, a very, very horrific scene. The two most horrific scenes for me in the entire book were the tail end of young BAAL at the place with the nun and the priest, and then this scene right here. And they come up on this village, and it's like 28 people, like crucified on inverted crosses. I mean, I'm telling you, horror, fucking horror. And Zark is like, there's supposed to be 20 children here. You know, these are the adults. Where the fuck are the children? And they proceed a little bit further, and they kind of get into this section that's like these underground ice tunnels. And I'm going to tell you that they find the children, but that is it. That's all I'm going to tell you. But that scene, like, again, I am hard to scare. I mean, it's hard to kind of put me on edge. And that scene, it did it. I mean, it really, really succeeded in putting me in this uncomfortable, on the edge of my seat type place. Really, really good section of horror in this book. I really didn't care too much for the ending. I mean, the ending is okay, but I just didn't really care because you're I don't know, 50 miles, 100 miles, how far it is from any civilization, and you're at the sled dogs are dying. I mean, you're at the end. I mean, if you can't stop BAAL here, you're fucked. And I mean, you're at the end, and so you're coming to this place when you realize that, I mean, nobody can survive this, can they? I mean, no one can. I mean, there's not going to be a helicopter that comes in and rescues everybody, and so like and that travel aspect of it just kind of drags, and you're like, what's going to happen, you know? So I didn't really care too much for the ending. A couple aspects of it that I didn't really care for, but ultimately, like I said, I really liked the book. I liked or really liked it. I don't know. I'm somewhere between 3 and 4. Like, I don't think I'll give this 4 because, again, Boy's Life and Swan Song are 5. I think I'll probably read some other. I don't think I'll read anything that by McCammon that I like that much. I don't think anyone else in this world has either. I could be wrong. I've heard a lot about the the series, the Cardinal Black series, or whatever. I heard people love those. Is it Matthew Corbett? I've heard people love those books, but I don't think there's going to be anything I read that I like that much. So it would be hard for me to put 4 on this. So I'm probably going to put 3 stars on BAAL. But I mean, don't let it fool you. I mean, it's very, very enjoyable. 80s, 90s horror. It's not. I don't want to use this term, but it's not lowbrow in any way, shape, or form. But the question is BAAL the precursor to that guy? Because BAAL's kind of, trying to stir shit up. I mean, he wants, to set the world aflame, so to speak. And is there some relationship? I kind of Googled that. Like, I was like, is BAAL friend? Is BAAL friend? He goes by friend at one point. He tells him I'm friend from Swan Song, and I didn't really get anything back. But there's definitely some, connection to be drawn between these two McCammon villains. I mean, they're biblical villains, but on some level, but these two McCammon villains. So that's it. BAAL, McCammon Project Book 2. I enjoyed it. I haven't read anything by McCammon I don't like or I didn't like, but I think, I could be wrong, I think Bethany Sin is next. I'm also going to try to read a couple short stories from the collection Blue World and do like short videos on those like I do for my shorts on shorts. So anyway, BAAL, probably 3.5 stars. This is Well Red Beard. This has been my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're enjoying all your books, all of them, as much as I am. If not, you are reading the wrong damn books.